we wanted to start with you with a quick question. You've been a staple, like we said, Wildcat legend here in Ogden. And so we wanted to ask you, what has made Weber State such a special place to have, had you stay here for such a long time when, no doubt you've gotten offers to go to other schools, but you've remained a true Wildcat. Tell us about what makes Weber State special for you.
It's and we've had some chances to do some things, obviously, but I keep telling my wife, and I talk about it, and we're happy here. We're really happy here, and it's kind of fits me. I grew up on a farm in Iowa. I'm kind of a blue collar guy, and I love the blue collar community. I love the people in the community. They seem to be kind of fit who I am, and the same way at the university. And the university itself we have such a great culture up there as far as everybody is together. Everybody is helping each other. Everybody's got each other's back. And I absolutely love that culture. And, when things have come up, other jobs and so forth, it hasn't taken long to dismiss them because, I've been told by a lot of mentors and other coaches that you never take a job for money. Be where stay where you're happy. And me and my family just love it here, and we've been happy, and we hope to continue for a long time. But it's a great place that way, and I love the kids we get to coach here. Sometimes you go to the higher levels, and it's a little bit more of an entitlement kid you got to get, and 5-star, 4-star guys. I'm not into all that stuff. I love the kids that we get here and the kids we get to coach. Most of them are just appreciative to be here. They love Weber State. They're all about winning and doing it for each other. And to me, that's what college basketball is supposed to be about. And so I love the kids we coach, and I love the community we live in.
Definitely the case. Like you said, Ogden is a blue collar town for the most part. And the folks that come into your program up at Weber State are usually the kind of folks who gotta work hard. This is not a Duke. This is not a North Carolina. You have to work hard to show out in a place like Ogden. And so with that, I wanted to ask you, Isiah, you're a new face up on campus. This will be your senior season as a college athlete. And so we wanted to ask you, what was it about Weber State that made you want to spend your senior season here?
Yeah, I think, there's a lot of the things, I'll echo what Coach Ray said. I mean, an environment that, nothing's given. You just got to earn everything, that you get. And that's how it's always, been for me. Both in my life and in my basketball career, I've just kind of had to be a guy that, I was never really given anything or given any kind of accolades that I didn't deserve, anything that I've ever been given or any respect that I've ever, been awarded has been, based on merit. I had to go work for it. And, I think the relationship between me and Coach Ray was something that progressed really fast during my recruiting process. And I think it took like 9 days or something like that. And even over the course of those 9 days, I felt like I had knew the guy for years. And so just, a family atmosphere, talking to not just Coach Ray, but the entire staff, and, those guys checking on me both as an athlete and as a person. And, it was a lot that went into it, but, the Weber State community is one that I think, matches a little bit of the chip, that I got on my shoulder. And as a team and as a program, that's something that, we bring to the floor, we bring to practice and things like that. So it was just the perfect fit. And, it's been even more apparent, the more time that I've spent here, that it was that way.
Awesome. Coach Ray, I have a question or two for you. You're replacing a player that's the program's all-time leading scorer and started a lot of games in Jarek Harding. It's never easy to do that, I don't think, in any program. So how do you retool after losing such a high volume, minutes and points guy like Jarek?
Well, I've said this quite a bit since Jarek has left. You don't really replace him with one guy. I think it's a team that you replace him with. We've got some guys that are going to be able to score the basketball, whether it's at that clip that Jarek scored. I don't know for sure, but we never intended to just fill his shoes. We intended to get a lot of really good basketball basketball players, and then do it together as a team, and everybody's pitching in and everybody's scoring the basketball, and do it as a team, and have probably, maybe a little bit more balance. I think, Isiah can obviously really score the basketball. We got some other guys that can do it, but when we've been at our best here, we've had a lot of guys pitching in and had more balance. And I think that's what we tried to do when we put together this team, is not just replace one guy, but just get a whole bunch of good basketball players. We got some older kids this year, kids with experience, kids that have played in Division I programs before. So they kind of know the routine a little bit. Now, the thing that they've had to do was adjust to our culture and how we do things. And I think sometimes we do things a little bit different. I'm kind of an old school guy and expect certain things and certain effort every single day. But I think as a team, I think that's what we're going to look at, replacing Jarek with a bunch of guys, not just one guy.
Coach, can I segue from that about this recruiting season was a little bit different. You had the middle of a pandemic, and you replaced 9 guys on the team from last year's squad. I've heard you talk many times about building chemistry and the chemistry on the team. What's the challenge for you this year, integrating 9 guys into the team, building that culture that you expect here at Weber State, and getting those guys to work together, especially as we're condensing the season a little bit and you don't have some of those non-conference games?
Yeah, you're right. That's the biggest challenge, I think, is when you bring in this many new guys, is to get them on the same page as quickly as possible. But I do think when we recruited these guys, and we couldn't, with the COVID and all the stuff, we couldn't go out and recruit, and kids couldn't come to campus. And so we spent just tons of hours on the phone with our kids and the guys who recruited, just trying to get to know them and, developing those relationships. So in one way, it was good that way. But, I think in recruiting, one thing we've always tried to do is be extremely honest with every kid that we recruit and let them know that this is how we do things at Weber State. And, you're going to have to earn, like Isiah said, you're going to have to come in here and you're going to have to work hard. And you're not going to get anything handed to you. I don't care who you are. You're going to have to earn it. We're going to expect you to give your best effort every day. You need to play with a high level of toughness, and you need to be able to give up yourself for the team and for your teammates. And we talked about that in recruiting. And I think when these kids got here, I think they had a good understanding of what it's going to be like. I think in so many programs sometimes, recruiters blow smoke up kids' butts and tell them how great they are and tell them all the things they want to hear. And then when they actually get there, it's not the way it is. And I think that's why you see a lot of kids transfer, because they haven't been told the truth in recruiting. And we try to go the opposite way. We do tell them the truth. And then when these kids get here, I told them from day one, hey, we've got some guys here that you got to check your personal agendas at the door, because it's not going to work here. We're going to play together. We're going to play as a team. You all need to give up yourself for your teammates. And if you do, this could be really, really good. And, it wasn't that hard with these kids, because number one, I got some great kids. They are high character, high integrity, really good kids that care about each other a lot. And they got on the same page quickly because they are the same type of kids with high character. And so I think they hit it off pretty quickly when they got here. And then I think we got a bunch of kids, like Isiah said, putting a chip on their shoulder. We got some kids coming from programs that haven't been able to do what they've can show what they've been able, are capable of doing. And they want to prove it up themselves, and they want to prove it up as a team. So that's been our message. We've got something to prove here. We've got players that are looking to prove something, and our team's looking to prove something. And I think that has kind of brought our team together as well. Because we've got a lot of those kind of guys. But so far, so good. These guys have really came in and sacrificed for their team, and they're playing really well together. And, we need to play some games to get that game chemistry going and get on the same page. But I think it'll come pretty quickly. I really do.
So I got a question for Isiah. IB, we've heard a couple times now. We actually had Cam Davis on a couple weeks ago, and he told us that he thinks you're the leader of this team. And then in media day, I think it was also alluded to that you're kind of the leader of this team. So it's interesting to me that before the season's even started, on a team with a lot of transfers, yourself included, people have already kind of identified you as the leader of this team. So I'm curious, what is it about you? What qualities do you have that make you a leader of this team?
I think, from a leadership perspective, I think that that's something that I'm aware of. And obviously, the position that I play, that's an important responsibility that I have. I've been in that position for the majority of my basketball career. I've always played, the position. And so, leadership is something that when I was, taught the game, it was just as important as, shooting and handling and being able to pass. I was taught that you can't play the point guard position if you're not that guy. And I've spoke about, my infatuation with quarterbacks, that's kind of where that comes from. And when I talked to Coach Rahe and, before I committed and every day since, that's what we've talked about. We've talked about being a quarterback and a guy that, has everybody's best interest. And, my main job is to make sure that everything is operating the way that it should, be operating and make plays when I need to make plays and, be aggressive when I need to be aggressive, but also, being cognizant of every single one of my teammates as well. So I think I'm just aware of that. I've been in situations, my personality, I think I'm a pretty even keel guy. So I think that's something that I've learned over time is, it's helped me in that leadership position because I'm able to kind of keep people level headed because I'm usually myself that way. But I mean, it's a position that I don't take lightly. It's the most important responsibility that I have. So, having my teammates believe in me and my coaches believe in me, to be that person and to have that voice is really important to me. And then obviously making sure that I'm carrying out that responsibility the right way is the most important thing.
So Isiah, I loved reading the story from our guy Brett Hine about you, uh, growing up in Anchorage and traveling summers to Seattle for AAU basketball. I mean, I have a sister that lives in Palmer near Anchorage, and Coach Rahe mentioned blue collar. I mean, Anchorage, that's as blue collar as it gets, and traveling to play ball. I mean, that is a blue collar mentality. Talk to me about that. I mean, what was it like growing up traveling and having to make those sacrifices to play basketball, and how did it help you become the person you are?
Yeah, man. I mean, to be honest, I didn't really realize that it was that big of a deal in the moment. It was just, I was just a kid. I just wanted to hoop, and the fact of the matter was that, my dad understood that, to have an opportunity to play basketball at the level that I wanted to play it at, I was going to have to, move on and get some better competition. And so that meant that, I was going to have to find a team in the lower 48, as we call it, up there. But, in the moment, it wasn't necessarily something that was a big deal for me. I was leaving on Thursdays and, I'd have to get a note to my teachers and tell them that I wasn't going to be in school and I'd be gone Thursday to Sunday and, come back Monday morning like nothing happened. And that was just kind of, that was a normal thing for, probably 2 years. The 2 years before I ended up moving to Seattle, I was in Houston at first, and I was in California for a little bit, in LA and San Francisco. And then I finally kind of found a team in Seattle through a family friend of ours. And, that just kind of, stuck, and it ended up being the best situation for me. But yeah, I think that mentality was, kind of, I guess, formed, in those years, kind of looking back on it. I just wanted to play, and I was going to do whatever it took. If I had to fly across the country and play a game and fly right back, that was, basketball was worth it to me. So, yeah, it was just, it wasn't necessarily a hard thing, a complex thing. I've always, was willing to do whatever it took. And I think, it started there before I even really realized it, I guess.
Coach, I wanted to ask you a quick question. You alluded to this a little bit earlier in your comments. You're talking about, this group of guys that we have here this season. And we're obviously a part of the Big Sky Podcast Network. And so a lot of the other podcasts have put out their rankings of what they think is going to be happening in men's basketball in the Big Sky this year. And they have Weber State in the upper tiers, as we should be, as, the kind of program that we are. But one of the question marks from nearly everybody is about chemistry. And so I wanted to ask you about how are you as a coaching staff helping to get these guys together and build that chemistry as much as you can without, game day situations and those kinds of things. What are you folks doing to help hurry that along and get guys to jail sooner?
Well, one thing we do when we first got these kids here in July was that's one of the first things we talked about as a team. That again, I mentioned if you're here because of a personal agenda, or you think you're going to come here and do something on your own and it's about you, you're in the wrong place, because you won't be here very long. And just talk to the guys about, hey, we all want to have success, and when we have success, everybody prospers. So we need to all buy into playing for each other, giving up yourself for your team, caring as much, if not more, about your teammates than you do yourself. Get out of your own way and get out of your own head and quit thinking about you. And that's just something we've always been about, Weber State. And so we talked a lot about it early on. And then you really got to get it done on the court. You got to, when you get everybody playing with the same effort and everybody playing towards one goal, whether it's a drill or a game or whatever, it takes everybody on that team to be able to accomplish that goal or win that, whatever you're doing is. And so everything we do here is about team first and all about team. Everything we talk about is team, and playing for each other. And I think once you keep that message going, I think these kids realize, and then they get on the court and they realize, and they start to see success. Hey, if we play together as a team, we could be something pretty good. And so I think kids start to realize that, and they start to enjoy playing basketball when everybody's involved and everybody's doing something to help their team. And so it's just something, we've done this many times. We've had a lot of new guys in our program throughout the years. And it's just kind of basically it comes down to, this is what our culture is. And we've got to get our kids understanding the culture and then getting into to be able to perform that way on the court. And so far, like I said, in practice, the kids have really done that. I can see this constantly with our guys making the extra pass or taking charges for your team or setting a good screen for your teammate, try to free them up. And we really respond to those things when we see them on the court. This is who we are. And so it takes some time, but but like I said, so far, I think the chemistry has been good, and I'm sure people are going to wonder about it, but I'll be honest with you right now, I'm not that concerned about that. I think we're headed in that direction in a good way.
Coach, I've got a schedule question for you, and I'm going to preface this by saying I believe I'm a realist in that in the one bid league like the Big Sky is, your season comes down to 3 days in March in Boise, and a lot of fans look at it as success or failure based on whether you succeed in Boise or not. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always seen the season as, okay, if we've got a peak with 3 days in Boise, that means January and February is the setup to get you in the best position for 3 days in Boise, and November and December traditionally are the get you ready for the conference season, right? And you've been really great about always saying we'll play anyone anywhere. We will get you'll take on all comers. So this leads me to the question. Sometimes our teams have started a little slow in November and December, and I feel like you're getting that chemistry down and getting the rotations and getting things set up. Those non-conference games, again, setting up for the conference season to set up for the tournament. So I understand the philosophy there, and the slow starts have never really bothered me in those seasons. But I've got to ask, you're starting out with 2 conference games right off the bat, way early here in December in the shortened season. How important is it for the team to get, and I'm sorry, this is a long question, but how important is it for the team to get out to a fast start this year? Because if you stumble out of the blocks, you're already in an 0-2 conference hole.
Well, yeah, it's always important. No matter who you're playing, you want to win every game, right?
Yeah,
And we've always played one. Every year we play one of the top 25 or 30 schedules in the country. We'll play anybody, and I want to win every game, but I also want to prepare our team for league. And so for that reason, our schedule's been really difficult throughout the years. We've maybe have taken a few losses, but I think it pays off for us when we get to conference. But yeah, this year is different. I mean, this is weird in every way, right? I mean, it's weird and there's no fans. It's weird that, some teams may show up and not be able to play because of a positive test. It's just, our kids have not, it's weird because our kids have not been allowed to be college students this year, to be honest with you. Part of going to college is everybody wants to play basketball and hoop and obviously go to class. But part of college and being a college student is enjoying social life and get-togethers and meeting people and being around people. And we just can't do that. Nobody can do that right now. So it's just really, really strange. Our kids go from their apartments to the gym, from the gym to the apartments. And basically that's about it. Anyway, to get to your question, yeah, it's always important, you know. We're going to start off real early with a conference game against a really talented team, you know, in Portland State. They're always one of the more talented teams in the league. They're kind of in the same boat we are, as they also recruited 9 new guys and took some transfers and some older kids, which they normally do. So, but you know, you can think about this and say all this stuff. Bottom line is, let's get prepared to go play, and let's go try to win a couple games on the road. And you know, if you don't get it done, it's not the end of the season. You got 18 more, but we never think that way. We always think going in, we're going to be successful and we're going to go find a way to get it done. And that's what we're going to do. And they're playing early in the season as well as we are. So we're in the same boat. Every team's in the same boat. You know, it's what you've done up to that point. Has it prepared you well enough to go on the road in a tough place against a really good team to have some success? So we're excited about it. I'm excited. Like I said, you know, hey, if they want us to go play Portland State down at the park at 10 o'clock at night, I'm good too. Let's go.
I mean, let's pull up the cars, turn on the headlights, and call it a night.
Yeah. What's that?
Pull up the cars at the park, turn on the headlights, and hoop it up, right?
Yeah, let's go. Hey, if there's a scoreboard and a couple officials, even if there's not, hey, it's time to hoop. Let's go. Let's get out.
I had a quick follow up to that. The back-to-back games in one city to reduce travel and such like that. Does your strategy change much playing both teams back to back like that?
Well, you know, in one way, yeah, it could, because let's say you got knocked off or you lose that first game, you might have to make some quick adjustments. And, you know, my hope is we've got a little bit of an older team that might be able to, and we've got a pretty smart team. We got guys that pick up things really well. I think it could help us as far as having to make some adjustments in that on that day in between. And adjustments to give yourself a better chance to win on Saturday. So, you know, I like the fact that we do have an older team and a team that's had some experience. So, but there's going to be adjustments made. There's going to be, you know, whether you win or lose. If you win, you know, maybe you look at doing the same stuff that you did that night without a few adjustments. But if you lose, you're definitely going to have to make some changes.
So I got another question for Isiah. I'm curious. All the scheduling talks got me curious as to what you think about it. Is there a certain game or a certain weekend that you got scheduled on your calendar? Something you're looking forward to more than a little bit more than the other games?
To be honest, man, not really. I'm looking forward to all the games probably equally. And I think I speak for the guys, you know, when I said I think we look at everybody and you know, we're gonna play everybody like that's the game we got circled. And you know, that's my mentality. Obviously I'm new to the conference, so I don't necessarily have any bad blood history with anybody else. They can all be the same to me. I want to beat everybody the same. You know, every game will be a rival game mentality, however you want to say it. I approach everything that way. So whether it's, you know, Portland State or Eastern Washington or Southern Utah or whoever, you know, whoever's playing against Weaver that night is the enemy. So I think we'll approach it like that. And yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to however many games are. I'm looking forward to all of them. So.
Isiah, I wanted to wrap up our interview here by giving you the last word, last question. This will be your final season as a college athlete, and so I wanted to ask, kind of, what do you hope to accomplish, man? Like, what is the thing that you hope to wrap up your college athletics career in a Weber State uniform? What's the goal here?
I mean, the first thing I want to do is win. I mean, that's the most important thing. So, you know, from an individual perspective, doing my job and being the player that I need to be for my team to be the best that we can be so we can win, that's my goal. So that's going to be a night-to-night thing. That's going to be, you know, however many points my team needs that night for me, or however many assists or charges, or if I got to guard the best player, or if somebody gets hot and I got to try to keep getting him the ball so we can win. You know, that's that quarterback thing, you know, that I keep coming back to. You know, if it's time for me to make plays and bring us home, I got to be able to do that. If it's time to, you know, exploit mismatches and be able to win the game that way, on both ends of the floor, just whatever that means, on a night-to-night basis. And you know, that's my main thing. You know, like I said, we collectively have a chip on our shoulder. I think as a team, as a program, that's definitely something that is a big part of my game and my personality. And so I always feel like I have something to prove, and I'll always be, you know, playing to that. But you know, my main thing is winning, and then being the guy that I need to be, so we can win a lot.
Well, Isiah, senior guard Isiah, and Coach Randy Rahe, appreciate both of you for taking the time tonight to come and chat with us on Weber State Weekly about the team, on the schedule coming up in the next couple of weeks. We'll be facing Adams State on Wednesday next week, and really looking forward to it. So appreciate you both, and looking forward to hopefully seeing you in the Purple Palace after the 1st of January if things work out.
Hey, thanks for having us, guys. Appreciate it. And thanks, hey, thanks for all you guys do for Weber State too. We appreciate all your support. We really do.
Thank you, Coach.
Absolutely, guys. We really appreciate it, man.